Well, here I am. Welcome back to my channel. I come to the shed so many times, and I look around my world, and it's like, what do I want to do? What do I want to make today? And I know I got 50,000 projects that I want to do. It will be coming up soon, but I got my wheels set up for my steady rest. I have to be in the mood to work at that. I picked up some wheels, pair of rollerblades, and it had some wheels. So, seeing I got the wheels now, I'm gonna have to work on this. But, we look at our wood pile, at least I do, and sometimes I feel intimidated with the pieces that I got. I'm looking in different angles to see what does this piece offer, and we have to make a decision to what we think is the best possible outcome for that particular piece. On the bandsaw, I have a very good example of a piece that you can look at and say, oh my God, so what in the world can I do with this? I know that it has something in it, but I got this branch that's way below, I got this one that's high, I got this split off that's even higher, and I look at this and it's like, wow, yeah, I can do a bowl, I see an interesting vase, but at which point do we take it? We can't possibly take it the full width of this. This is probably 10 inches wide, 11 inches wide from this point to this point. So that's way too big. It's way too heavy. Let me mount it and show you what I'm thinking. And that does not mean by any means that it's the best option. But if I take this part right here by itself, if I take this part right here by itself, forget that this branch is here, which that branch in itself has its own character, but this part right here with this deep valley, the grains catching up this fork, split off right here. If I take this and cut this somewhat across this line right here, which I'll be inside this valley, what I'm thinking of is doing that, cutting that off to create this as the top of a vase, and taking this part completely off so it doesn't get in my way. So let me show you on the saw what I actually do. Now, like I said, it does not mean that it's the perfect scenario, but as soon as I get this cut, you'll probably see something a little bit different. Now, is it the perfect situation? We will never know until we actually do something with it. So I see this as the mouth of a vase that will be pretty interesting. So I'm going to take this and rip this right down here, because I'm not going to need this part right here. So bring it in there again. I don't want to cut any of this part right here because that's part of its characteristics. I would rather be on the outside than interfere with this part at all. So with that, now I know this piece right here holds something different, something else. So I'll leave this alone. I'll leave this part alone, and I can see something here, a small bowl with a very interesting natural edge, and I see this one as a very possible, really, really nice looking vase. Now, to mount it, I want to get it more or less a bottom through so it sits square against my jaws. So the majority of it is done. I think I got the shape that I want for the top of the vase. I think I have a manageable size piece. The size on this is 10.5 inches length, and at this point it's 8 inches, and it's 8 inches diameter at the widest point right here. So it's going to be a fairly wide by 6, a fairly wide vase. Now this is going to be a very odd piece for sure to turn. Not the most assuring piece that I've done for sure. But as soon as I get rid of this edge right here, as soon as I start getting rid of this edge right here, things are going to have a different outlook as to how this is going to be shaping, how comfortable my level of turning will be with this piece, and you'll start seeing very quickly what is going to be the shape of this piece. Now I got a split on the bark on this crotch right over here going down, and I don't want anything to happen on that piece right there. I don't want that bark later on to do anything that I don't want it to do. So I'm going to just put a little bit of CA on it, not a lot. It's and I actually have quite a bit going through here. Now most of this will probably disappear anyway, but these are the precautions you take now at the beginning so you can make the decisions of what you want and not what the piece wants. Now I do believe on letting the piece dictate what it wants to be, more or less. Well, when I see it. I don't always see it, and I probably don't have a great visual of what this one is going to do. I know that it's going to make this sort of a shape around here. This one actually has to be set up higher, so when I'm gouging it up, I'm not going through that. But before I get to that, I'm going to I actually have to do that now, because if I leave it the way it is, this is a low spot. In other words, this is very close to the center, so this is going to dig way down, probably coming up to this flat part, which is the last thing I want. And no matter what, that's always going to be a low spot. Not this, but this one is. So I don't know, I might be able to catch it out here. I don't know, but I'm going to eliminate some of that by bringing that up a little bit higher if I can. So I'm going to turn on the lathe and I'm going to start it up as slow as I can and still be able to maintain Now this is going at 350 RPMs, but I'm really wobbling. But as soon as I get some of this out, it will stop some of this. So I'm going to keep this going back and forth until I get to this round on the bottom and create a center. Now this is already calming down a little bit. It's not beating up as much as it was. Another 10 minutes of this, more or less going back and forth, I should have this somewhat up to this point right here, which will be pretty much balanced off. Now I'm sneaking up the speed a little bit at a time and sneaking it up a little further each time that I go. The base is already pretty good. I'm feel pretty comfortable with what's going on back here. Closing it up against my chuck over here. As I'm going up, the idea, of course, my initial idea is to leave kind of a natural edge on this and these wings. But if that fails, I still know that this is a nice piece of wood with a lot of different characters on it. So if that fails, I can always change my design once I get up here. Now this shape, this part that I'm turning has to come up all the way up to this point right here. So all this has to come out completely as part of the shape of the vase for now. Okay. Now my tenon, I could have gone deeper, but I don't want to lose the grip that's on the jaws. So by leaving it right there, I can open up my jaws, drop it right inside, and this will allow me to work a little bit better. And I'm ready to go in here and continue what I was doing. So what do I got? This would come all the way down here. This will come all the way down here in this area. I gotta go a little bit higher to catch this part, and I might catch this outside area of the bark. I am not sure. Just gonna go a little bit deeper right over here in this area and see what happens with this part, which is the real area that I'm concerned with. And I have a funny feeling if I do that, I'm going to lose this wing completely. I am going to lose that wing completely. Unless I can offset it from my chuck by loosening it up some and doing kind of a eccentric turning with this. Now it won't be eccentric because I will retrue that up, but it's not going to sit true the way I got it on the set up over here. I'll recut this and retrue this whole base over here just so I can gain this area right here. I offset this. That's going to bring me quite a bit higher here. Probably now when I do that, okay, I have to bring it down this way a little bit too. No? Yeah, so I don't hit that. Let me see. Wow. That just makes it to this edge right here. So one more tap down and I think I will be fine. I'll probably end up doing this one more time because of this. Now I'm way off balance again. Okay, that's high. Alright. I'm going to leave it like that so I don't lose this completely and see what happens when I get to this area right here. I will be missing this point right now and probably missing this one. So one more time. Lock this up. Even though I'm twisted here. And I think I'm going to start it off with the re-establishing this tendon back here again. Now I've got to slow this way down again. Let me see if I can bring this in there and get a little bit better of a grip if I'm not too deep. I think that's better. Okay, I think that's a lot closer. This is going to look nice going through here. I'm pretty close to that. It's really close to this one. It's constantly making an adjustment to get to the end of this. That's it. And I will still through this tenon a little bit. Now I'm getting close. This is going to be nice over here. Not bad here. Not bad here. And I'm almost there. I just have to bring this round over. I got to catch this little piece of bark right here. And I see that I'm going to lose it on the inside. Which is okay. I'll catch the inside bark over here. And that's fine. Here it is, it's separating, catching this area right here. God, that's right there, that's right here. That's not going to work. I still want to bring this part right here a little bit closer to the bottom on it, or else I'm going to lose the top parts of this wing. And I want to be cutting away at this, but not at this or this. That will do it right there. That's far away from there, far away. Yep, I'm going to cut all of this part right here and saving these two right here. It's further away from the tool, so therefore the tool is not going to touch that at all, and I will be exactly at the shape that I need to be with this turning. One more time on a tenon and finalize that. Now every time I move it, of course, I create shake again because I just threw it off center again. I expected that piece to fly off because there's a separation between this, and that's what just flew off was the piece that was right here. So right now I'm pretty close, just going to through the whole thing all the way down to the bottom, and that's the last time that I modify as far as the shape. Okay, now you can see what's going on over here, where it's going to maintain the bark edge and what shape it's going to be making. This side is going to be the deepest of the bowl, of the vase, and then it will make this little jog around here. So, and I will be able to maintain some of this coloration around the outside of the bark as well going through here. So I'm still going to put the live center up. Now that I have it pretty much the way that I want it, I'm going to go in here and start refining this before I go to the inside and start hollowing it up. Bring this close. That looks good. Speed, I still have to maintain it under control. 500 RPMs. Okay, not too bad other than this right here. Gotta clean this up a little bit. I'd love to be able to come up a little bit higher on this side. But I can't be taking from here all the time. What will I gain? Instead of here, it would be here. That's the only difference. I'm not going to go through that work. I'm just going to clean this up right here. One more sharpen so I can clean this up. It's not too bad, but I got, from the wobble, I got some gouges over there. Well, I gotta say, this one is really being a little bit more stubborn than I wanted it to be. But that's what we got. We get into the lathe and we try different things. Now the reason why this one is giving me such a hard time is of course because I am trying to maintain the spark all the way around, and I'm trying to be the one who decides on what part of the bark is going to stay and what's not going to stay. So it constantly had me do slight shifts and always off balancing the piece in order to not take away on parts that it wanted to because it was bottoming out or whatever. So this is one of those pieces that it was not just a put it up, turn it, and you got a beautiful vase. It was a put up and constantly battle it until you got the look that you were looking for, or at least the look that I was looking for, and it's still going. Still got a little bit more work on this top edge, but I'm going to take a break because I've been here for a while and I'm getting a little antsy to get it done, and when that happens then things go wrong. So before they go wrong, I'm going to take that break that I need, and I'll be back later. Well, I'm going to continue hollowing this inside, clean up this outside edge a little bit, go a little bit thinner on this area right here, slightly, and bring this in and see what I get with this. I'm still about 2.5 inches from the bottom. So I'm going to go in there one more time with the drill. Let's go a little bit deeper. Now this bowl gouge is very aggressive the way I got it chopped up. So I go in here with a flute, completely closed. You see that? I'm going almost parallel, top and bottom with a flute. It's not going to give you the cleanest cuts, but it sure will give you the safest cut. Anything outside of that is going to be way too aggressive for this gouge. Now from here down, I can go and establish a push cut. Start off with a bevel. Find the edge. And lightly bring it down. Ride the bevel. Get my tool rest as close as I can without hitting. It's a nice looking vase, and it's a vase that I didn't let it beat me in a sense of the shape that I wanted. So with this vase, it constantly meant me having to shift the piece one way or the other, turning it and getting that balance of what was happening, especially on this area right here, because I was very afraid I was going to lose all this bark in this area. It was going to end up with a white chunk of wood, which I manipulated it so it would never do that. And overall, it's not a vase that has the coloration or the markings that I wanted. It has a little bit up here. I anticipated a little bit of this, but I actually anticipated to have a little bit more, as it had knots coming off the side. I do see a bit from one of the knots coming up right over here. I'm sure that there's another knot somewhere in the middle, or perhaps that was the area that I cut off from the initial piece, so that's where it intersected with that. But overall, it's a nice looking vase. Not the best vase that I've done. I still think the best vase I've done was the sea grape, but it has a little bit of the same style per se on the mouth. The sea grape just had more uniform protrusions, so it made it a little bit nicer. This one looks like it could have used a little one here, or something coming up over here, but that's the wood. That's what I had to work with, and therefore that's what interpreted that. I can't add wood, but I sure can control the points that I wanted to show up, if they are there to start off with. Be right back. Well, at this point, I would say this is pretty thin. If I run my hand over the top of the light, you can see that I actually create a darkness in there. So yeah, this thing is about a 1/16 of an inch in thickness, all the way up to the outside edge. It's a very, very thin vase. The outside has been sanded down to 600 grit. Way on the bottom, I always have a hard time in there cleaning that up. Sometimes I'll use a stick in there, and my hand almost reaches. So I'm going to go in there a little bit and get some of it. Very important that when you're doing this, you widen up your curve. I'm going at least 1.5 inch width of my potting tool. Going in there a little bit. Don't let it bind up. I got 1/4 inch there. Lathe is running at 900 RPMs. That's as close as I dare go in there right now. Now, gem chuck always works nicely when you're in a tight situation. And here's my nub. I got that little tiny bit over there. Buffing the bottom. You can always use your buffing wheel again. Easy enough to attach to a drill. But in my case, I think it looks pretty good. The whole vase is about 9 inches tall. That's what I'm estimating it to be. 9 inches tall. So, oh my goodness. So, 9 1/4 to the tallest wing of the mold. But it looks to be maple again. The finish on the overall is not bad. Pretty good. The thickness of the walls on this is translucent. That's a new thickness. Can see light through it, right? You can see that this piece is very thin all the way through. And it goes all the way down to the bottom like that. I just can't get the light to penetrate deep enough to show you that. Anyway, So here's a maple vase for the collection. For the collection. Not like I needed another one, but they're always fun to make. I like making vases because the character of the wood dictates the character of the vase. The vase becomes as much of a piece of the wood as the wood itself. It's got a nice finish, like I said. Not different by any means from anything that I have done in the past. I've done several of these shaped vases, but I haven't done any in maple and with this type of a character on the end. Generally, I've done them kind of round, even when they had bark, or just concave on one side, but this one makes up for it. It was a planned piece. When I say it was a planned piece, it's because it took me doing a lot of adjustments on the lathe as I was turning it. Started roughing it up, see what it was going to take off, what was going to maintain and not, reshift it again, make sure that I always kept the bark all the way around. And the bark is about the whole thing. The tip, the edge is actually a little thicker than the inside, the whole inside walls. The edge is a little over 1/8 of an inch, and it comes down slightly less than that, starting right over here, all the way down to the base. And then, of course, the base has a little bit more mass. It holds upright. The mass is needed to balance off the wings, so this piece doesn't topple over on your display. So it's a nice vase. I hope you like it. If you like it, don't forget to share with your friends. Like and comment. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week with another episode of The Unknown. Maybe I'll work next week on my steady rest. It would have come in handy for something like this. Not when a steady rest still will not work when you got something that's off balance. Or may I say, skewed. Not necessarily off balance, because the weight of the wings, depending on how big it is, will always put a little bit of vibration on the piece. But if I'm skewed and this piece is rotating like this, well, it's not going to work, because your wheels are going to want to do that as well. But once I had it through to establish a steady rest, definitely would have assisted me quite a bit. Now, I'm curious also on a steady rest. I mean, if you get a catch, what happens with a steady rest when it decides the force is more or greater than the steady rest's capability? I don't know. Are there any formulas that can justify that? Is there a steady rest that becomes a little bit more tolerant to those unknowns? Or they are pretty much the same? They're light duty, they're there just as a guide and to assist you a little bit on vibration that's naturally caused by the lathe, but not necessarily to stop it from shifting on your chuck if you happen to get a catch or something like that. I'm curious on that. My instinct is that it's not made to hold that. It's made strictly to steady it. So if you have some input on that, put it on the comments. I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear some of the stories, maybe with your steady rest on. You know, what was the outcome? Wheels, you know, did they untrue? Did it knock off the bar that holds the wheels close away from the piece where you have to readjust it? What is the outcome? Is it shifting on the base? Is it, what's the steady rest doing on the event of a mishap? Let me know. Put it on the comments below, and All your information, of course, is greatly appreciated. Take care. Thanks, guys, ladies. Hope to see you very soon with another episode of the Alpha Turtles Woodturning. Take care.